Hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about parallel lines and perpendicular lines. Go ahead and take notes along with me. You're going to be finishing some portion of these notes. So let's go ahead and look. You're going to be in charge of number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, and then 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. If you have any questions while doing those, please ask me. I'm going to be going over number 1, number 2, number 9, and number 10. So let's go ahead and get started. So with parallel lines, we have to first define them, and I'm going to tell you how we can actually see that they would be parallel algebraically. So the definition would be, it's lines that never intersect. Or in other words, algebraically, they have the same slope, but they have different y-intercepts. So an example would be y equals 2x plus 1 and y equals 2x plus 3. Since they have two different y-intercepts and their slopes are the same, we can say that those two lines would be parallel. Now let's talk about perpendicular lines. The definition would be that the lines that intersect once at a 90-degree angle. Okay? So algebraically, in other words, how do we know how these two lines would be perpendicular? We can say that they have negative reciprocal slopes. So, an example. If we have y equals 2x plus 1, our perpendicular line would look like y equals 1 over 2 x plus 1. That could be an example. It doesn't really matter if the y-intercept match or not, so it's okay. So let's move on to the question, well, what are negative reciprocals? Sorry, this needs to be negative 1 over 2. In other words, so negative reciprocal would be a fraction that is flipped and the signs are switched. Some examples. We have 3 over 4. So the negative reciprocal would be negative 4 over 3. We're flipping and negating. Number 2. We have 2. If we flip that, negate it, we'll have negative 1/2. Number 3. Negative 7 over 8. Flip it and negate it. In other words, we're making a negative into a positive. We're flipping the sign. And number 4, we have 1. Well, the negative reciprocal for that would be negative 1. And number 5, 0. In other words, 0 over 1. So if we flip it, it's going to be 1 over 0 and negate it. And if we divide by 0, we have the slope of undefined. So let's go over a couple of examples. So we're asked to determine if the segments AB and CD are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So let's look at number 1. What we have to do is we have to determine the slope of both of those lines. So the slope of AB would M would be equal to, let's say, 6 minus 3 over 2 minus negative 2. Same thing as 2 plus 2. So we have 6 minus 3 is 3 over 2 plus 2 is 4. So the slope for line AB is going to be 3 over 4. Next we have CD. So we have M is equal to 3 minus 0 over 3 minus negative 1. 3 minus 0 is 3. 3 minus negative 1, the same thing as 3 plus 1, or 4. So we have that the slopes match. Since the slopes match, we can say that these are parallel lines. Okay, number 2. We have the line AB and CD. Let's find the slope for both. Starting with AB, we have M is equal to 4 minus 2 over 5 minus 0. Let's simplify that. 4 minus 2 is 2. 5 minus 0 is 5. So we have 2 over 5. Now we have CD. Let's find its slope. So M would be equal to 3 minus 8 over 3 minus 1. 3 minus 8 is negative 5. 3 minus 1 is 2. If you check, those two slopes are negative reciprocals of one another. So we can say that number 2 has perpendicular lines. Okay, now I'm going to do number 3 just to solidify something. So we have line AB, line CD. Let's find the slope of AB. We have 6 minus 8 over 2 minus negative 1. 6 minus 8 is negative 2. 2 minus negative 1, same thing as 2 plus 1. That's 3. So our slope is negative 2 over 3. And for CD, we have the slope is equal to 3 minus 2 over 3 minus negative 1. If we simplify that, we have 3 minus 2, which is 1, over 3 minus negative 1, which is 3 plus 1, which is 4. Notice that these two slopes have nothing to do with one another. They're not the same, and they're not negative reciprocals. So we have to say that they are neither parallel or perpendicular. The rest of the section, so number 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, are yours to do by yourself. Expect to have 3 perpendicular lines and 2 parallel lines. Let's move on to the next section, so number 9. Number 9, we're given 2 slope-intercept forms, and we're asked to determine if it's parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So let's take a look. What's the slope for the first line? Well, the slope is equal to 7. And what's the slope for the second line? Well, the slope is equal to 7. Since they have the same slope, we can say that these are parallel lines. Number 10. We have the slope is 4 over 5 for this one. And the slope is negative 5 over 4 for this one. So in other words, they have slopes that are negative reciprocals of one another. So we can say that these are perpendicular lines. And let's go ahead and do number 11. Let's see. So the first slope is going to be equal to negative 1/3, and the second slope is going to be equal to 1/3. Now, you might think that these would be perpendicular, but they're not, because they are not negative reciprocals of one another. It's just the negative version. So instead, we say that these are neither parallel or perpendicular. The rest of these, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, are yours to do by yourself. Expect to have 4 perpendicular lines and 1 parallel line. If you have any questions while doing these, please let me know. I'll be happy to help. Other than that, that's the video for this week, or today. And be on the lookout for your exit slip and homework. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Have a good day.